Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our channel once again. And it is my hope and prayer that the video is going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine, as you can see. Kisumu is fantastic. And maybe you could also let me know where you are watching the video from. The county or the country, in case you are out of the republic. Ladies and gentlemen, William Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, on Monday embarked on a 5-day tour of Nairobi. Today, William Ruto was in Raila Odinga's bedroom and sitting room. That is Lang'ata and Kibera. In this video, I want us to do a critical analysis about the entire trip. Because three things are very clear. Number one, the visit targeted ODM strongholds. William Ruto was in Mathare. William Ruto was in Kawangware. William Ruto was in Kibera today, Lang'ata. William Ruto was in Kamunkunji. And of course, he was in Dagoretti North, but the side which is predominantly ODM strongholds. So that is something which was very clear. Number two, this visit also witnessed a lot of chaos. It was a bit chaotic. Even today, there were a lot of chaos, running battles between the youths and the police. For those who've been following this event, you saw how thugs who accompanied the president rained havoc on Kenyans after the event. Another important thing to note during this event was the fact that Raila Odinga was missing. He skipped it. Initially, Raila Odinga was supposed to accompany William Ruto to these events. I want to ask you, do you think the event was a success or was it a failure? In my own opinion, it was both successful and it failed in most cases. For example, listening to William Ruto.
Gavana ameniuliza ya kwamba ili tuongeze chapati kwa dishi ya Nairobi, ninunue machine ya kutengeneza chapo. Na nimekubali nitamnunulia machine ya kutengeneza chapo. Sasa wewe gavana, tafuta mahali ya kununua machine ya kutengeneza chapo $1,000,000.
Again, listening to William Ruto.
Mimi nimesema maneno ya ubaguzi kwa mambo ya ID tuitolee mbali. Kila mwananchi apatiwe ID. Kila mwananchi apatiwe nini? Kitambulisho. Na mimi nataka nitangaze nikiwa hapa Kibera leo ya kwamba kitambulisho ipatianwe bila malipo yoyote. Kila mtu apatiwe kitambulisho bila malipo na kwa mpango ambayo haina ubaguzi kwa Wakenya. Tumekubaliana jameni? Mnasema tuendelee ama tuendelee?
For me, I consider those speeches as a sign of failure. It simply means that William Ruto is trying to promise Kenyans things instead of telling them what he has done. But in this video, I want us to do a critical analysis, the objectives which this visit was supposed to achieve, and why I strongly believe that Raila Odinga must be very careful. But before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you to the first objective which William Ruto wanted to achieve and which should actually worry Raila Odinga and the ODM brigades. William Ruto is plotting a coup against Raila Odinga in his stronghold. That's why during this visit, instead of covering the entire Nairobi, I never saw William Ruto in Embakasi South, Embakasi Central, even Roysambu. He wasn't there. Why? Because William Ruto wanted to focus on ODM strongholds. Of course, going to ODM strongholds was going to help him to prevent things like heckling, low turnout, because he wanted to create some perception. But for me, Raila Odinga should be worried because it opens the door for William Ruto in his strongholds. You all remember the story of the proverbial camel. Ruto is a very dangerous politician if you give him space. Uhuru committed a mistake in the mountain by opening a small window for William Ruto. That was in 2017. By the time Uhuru Kenyatta realized, William Ruto had already gone with his strongholds. The mountain has already left William Ruto. William Ruto is left with the Rift Valley, is planning to get the Luhya Nation and the ODM strongholds. You can't talk of any other ODM strongholds other than Mathare, Kawangware, Kibera and Lang'ata. So Ruto is finding a way of getting through those strongholds. Remember, William Ruto also has a past with ODM party. Most people have forgotten that William Ruto was actually one of the deputy ODM party leaders, which means he understands the operations of the ODM party. The only reason why Raila has always managed to stop any invasion of ODM party is because of the grassroots network. Now Raila Odinga is handing over these grassroots to William Ruto, who is a sitting president with the intelligence system. By the time Raila Odinga will realize most of his grassroots network, because Raila has a very strong grassroots networks, people believe in him. By the time he will realize, some of these people will be singing praises of William Samoei Ruto. Very dangerous for him. In fact, the other day I was talking to someone and he was like, you see, Lee, I wanted to ask you, between ODM and UDA party, which party do you think William Ruto is more comfortable in? I could not answer. Yeah, he explained to me that William Ruto would be more comfortable in ODM party because he's a founder member of ODM party. William Ruto operated within ODM party, but for UDA party, most of the people there were actually borrowed from TNA. Some of them were borrowed from ODM party. If anything, UDA was just formed as a vehicle, not as a political party in the last election. And I was surprised. So Ruto's past in ODM party makes him understand the way ODM operates. And that is lethal for Raila Odinga. Of course, Ruto is also strategically creating room for his people. Someone like Sakaja was then in charge of his tour of Nairobi, contacting ODM leaders, contacting ODM ground mobilizers, dealing with them, facilitating. Through that, they are now able to understand how ODM operates, now with the approval of Raila Odinga, because previously they would try to do it minus the approval of Raila Odinga. But now, with the approval and with the support of Raila Odinga, they are able to do all those. So for me, I'm seeing that as a dark coup against Raila Odinga and his party ODM in Nairobi and its strongholds. So unless Raila Odinga is keeping a keen eye, I'm looking at it from that perspective. Now, let me now because I've now explained to you guys why Raila Odinga should be worried. Let me now give you the second reason why William Ruto embarked on the 5-day tour of Nairobi. He's trying to test the ground after the MoU with ODM and UDA party. How is the ground receiving that MoU? Because that MoU between ODM party and UDA party is what will project William Ruto to the presidency. If the ground will reject it, I can assure you, William Ruto will not be re-elected again. If ODM supporters will embrace that MoU, maybe that can explain why Raila Odinga decided not to accompany Ruto, so that Ruto himself can go to the ground and gauge, testing the ground. I'm 100% sure with the help of NIS, he's able now to understand whether the ground has accepted or no. Number 3, I also strongly believe that this tour of Nairobi is actually laying the ground for the grand visit to the mountain. William Ruto is yet to visit Mount Kenya after falling out with Rigathi Gachagua. So William Ruto needed a momentum. Going to Dagoretti North, then images are flashed that William Ruto well received. Going to Mathare, William Ruto well received. Going to Kibera, William Ruto well received. Going to Lang'ata, then they can now extend that momentum to the mountain. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be keenly following the events in Mount Kenya. Maybe next week William Ruto will be there, but he wanted to create that momentum. And lastly, I'm also looking at it as William Ruto's strategy to try and create perception. I've always explained on this platform many times that politics is a perceptional game. Before William Ruto deal with the ODM party, what used to happen to William Ruto was that he would go to Nairobi. People would sing uongo, uongo. In most cases, he would be heckled. Now, William Ruto is going to a place, then a huge crowd turns up. Of course, that's also debatable, whether he was received with a huge crowd or whether the photos were editing. There were people who were claiming the photos were edited. Some were saying heavily mobilized. But you see, mobilization is part of the game. You must mobilize. You must create perception. That's exactly what William Ruto is trying to do. Creating a perception that Kenyans have not rejected him. And lastly, and this is the main thing, Ruto was trying to lure the ODM MPs and MCs in Nairobi to his side. For those who've been following Raila Odinga's politics is normally anchored around the governor and the MCs. Of course, he's always joined by the MPs. In Nairobi, ODM does not have a governor. And that's where now Sakaja comes in, because Sakaja is a close ally of Raila Odinga. So I want to assume Ruto was trying to follow that script of Raila Odinga. Use the governor to use the MPs and MCs to mobilize. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that trip by William Ruto, depending on how you look at it, but if I were to rate it, it did not meet the expectation. There's no takeaway. There's nothing you can take away from William Ruto's tour of Nairobi. Nothing. Apart from those, today, the accident. Then you go to Kibera, Ayany, the youths. Yesterday, the looting. The other day, in Kamukunji, those young boys who are clearly chokoras, nothing really. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.